welcome to today's video. In today's video, we'll look into a prediction on the Ukraine war. Starting with two areas that I feel something will happen. Not good, but will. Well, I feel it is possible with a partial evacuation of Kupiansk for this to happen, which would not be great. But there's room for it. Another thing that's likely going to happen in the next while is probably the fall of Bakhmut. And yeah, I'm on the wrong layer. 1 sec. That much, though. Which it's likely to see an offensive this year sometime by Ukraine towards Melitopol. Yes. If they manage to go down and take Melitopol, there's no way to Crimea, really. They would just need to target this bridge again, and then they would be set to take this area. Or they could go like that. But the problem is, crossing a river, really not easy. Well, especially not easy for Russia's forces, but that's another thing. But there has been a bit of an increase in attacks in this region, but no land forces. But let's say when they do decide to go retake Crimea, because I think they said they would, they advance here. And they take Melitopol back, it would be easy for them to do this. Which would probably cause Russian forces to withdraw from that region. But if they got focused on that area, we might be able to see an offensive here. But I don't know. Let's say they're offensive, although happening wouldn't go that fast, I don't think. Yeah, there would be too much of a strategic value. And I'm sure Russia would know about that. Strategic value. And it's more likely Ukraine would attack here and then attack in this region. Yes, that's what they done with Kherson, but then they went into Kherson. And let's say they managed to do this offensive, which would be taking back parts of northern Luhansk and parts of Kharkiv Oblast would fully be in their control. They would just have a few oblasts to fight over now. But let's say, I did say Russia took Bakhmut, but let's say Russia would probably try to advance further, is what my assumption would be. Maybe like this, much further. Not very much. Just to the major city next. But that's assuming they manage to do it. Now this area might fall if it's encircled that much. But I feel like Ukraine would start putting pressure on that front. Just so they could take more land. Back. But keep in mind, this is slowed down just so it's an actual video. And let's go look at other places. So then we have Moldova, which Russia has been lately trying to destabilize, which that could help them, but I don't know if it would. Because there's too much support for democracy in the world. But something that's not going to happen, I don't figure, is help from here. That's just a trick to trick the West. It's not going to happen. Maybe it will. Who knows? You know. And if Belarus were to get involved, well, it wouldn't really change much. But Belarus could allow Russia to move into the north. crashed. Yeah, it did just crash. But I think I'm going to make some edits so you don't have to see the part where GIMP collapses in on itself. As is that necessary? No. Let's say Belarus allows Russian forces to move through again. I don't think they would. But in this world, I think something would happen. If Belarus did allow this, depends on if they sent some forces in. Now, if they sent forces, that'd be 60,000 extra forces. It doesn't make any sense. Because, well, in this region is what's full of mines. Yeah, exactly. So maybe Russia would just use Belarus to get through this. You may think I'm... Yeah. With the offensive initiated, let's say, and Belarus, along with Russian forces, move towards Kiev again. And then they move through here. And yeah, this happens. But as you know, with the last Kiev offensive, it didn't go so well. And this is after losing most of your best forces, Russia. Just saying. You know, that'd be pretty heroic to fight that well against somebody who was superior to your armed forces. And you fight them back. But I feel like Belarus would probably move back in this region, maybe. But with some increase right now of bombings in the Sumy area, they might try to take Sumy again. I don't know why, but they might. Well, they might try to do this. Both of these, if they do manage to get land, would ultimately fail to resistance. And Ukraine will probably kick them back out of this region easily. And also, if Belarus did get involved, there'd probably be more sanctions. And then this could easily happen, because it wouldn't be really easy when Russia has most of its forces focused here on holding either of these. By the time Ukraine would get resistance there, these would be over. And well, likely if Belarus got involved, well, it wouldn't look good for Belarus. Most Belarusians don't support the war. That's why they're not involved, I think. Maybe. Even though that would make sense. But then again, it's something. With Ukrainian offensives opening up on more fronts, they would probably try an offensive here. To try to put more pressure on Russia's supply lines to Crimea. That would include taking back a few cities. And well, Russia would be forced to move forces from an offensive in the Bakhmut that happened right now in like 2023 back. It would probably take a few years for this to end. But yeah, it's probably around the summer of 2023. Yeah, and I think it will end in 2024. But with Russia seizing an opportunity, they see right here it's not very protected, so they take this and call it a major victory in their country. Why would they do that? Well, with this pressure, they might, if they couldn't succeed fully in their Melitopol offensive, they might try to come in here. And also, these borders of the red might not be completely right. With them coming over in a small amount. And Russia being surprised, this small group manages to take all of us. Don't ask me how. Russia's infuriated. And you know, there's nothing they can do. Besides I don't know what they would do. With the Melitopol offensive, instead of going for Melitopol, goes for lands in Kherson. But then Russia puts a big force by Crimea that holds Ukraine back. And would Ukraine be able to take Crimea is a question of this video. Yes. What would happen to South Ossetia and Abkhazia? They'd probably be in trouble. But if Russia loses this war, it won't be Putin in charge probably. But the person could be worse or better. Nobody would know. With them starting a Luhansk offensive. And well, support for Russia's war is at an all-time low. With somebody deciding it's a good time to take back Mariupol. Wait, what? Yep, as they move into Mariupol and Melitopol. Taking those cities. We have boats being used to try and evacuate some forces, and, well, they hold on. But then they see they could just encircle these forces is what they do. But these two groups of forces won't surrender. It's the only problem. Unable to move, not enough resources. Obviously, if you're encircled, you can't get that much resources. Russia's goal now is to hold on to Crimea. And they'll probably still be blaming other people for their defeats, I guess. Probably. Because that's what they've been doing all war so far. Yeah, it would take a long time for them to change what they're doing now, I guess. But yeah, I don't think they could take it back. Even if they encircled the resistance of Ukraine, does Ukraine really like to give up? No. But Ukraine is basically ready to finish this war. As they start getting jets in higher volumes. They have a lot of trained people for those jets at this point. They start using the jets to strategically attack Crimea. And they even use one to knock over this bridge again. Yeah. The bridge got knocked over again. Nobody knows who did the first time, I guess. Maybe they do. But Ukraine's offensive into Crimea would be pretty slow. They'd probably get to here, but they would have to use something to mine the area. With Russia's population very unhappy. But in reality, what can they do? Some of the most anti-areas of Russia, such as Chechnya, might not like this. Or Dagestan. With them pushing back towards the Russians, pushing and encircling Russians here. Yeah. But as they can see, Ukraine is attacking into Crimea. They do the same thing, but in a different region. And then they move down towards... What's that city? Oh, no. With Donetsk and Luhansk looking mostly like they did at the beginning of the war, Russia takes time to do an offensive. But they don't get far, but they get pretty far because most of Ukraine is focused on retaking Crimea. Crimea first, I guess. With them taking, I forget the name of the city here, and they take it, and then, well, Russia's pretty much at getting kicked back. Even to the point where they start pushing, Ukraine makes a remarkable offensive with some forces into Luhansk and Donetsk, mostly to the 2014 borders, which is pretty well armed. But yeah. Would they keep going? Probably not after this. Where would they go? Belgorod? Maybe. With Donetsk city falling and Donetsk being lost by Russia, Russia has a shift in its government from Putin to a different person who leaves Ukraine, basically. Which, unfortunately, Russia's getting weakened now if they lose in Ukraine. But let's say they don't sign peace. Yeah, they don't. Ukraine will probably try and join NATO at this point. And let's see, what could be negatives towards Russia? Remember, don't forget about this part. I think that if this defeat was soft, there's nothing they could really do about these areas to prevent them from falling to Georgia. There's nothing anymore. And well, they would probably be leaving most of their troops from Syria, like what's left, and other proxies they're involved in. And yeah, they would do that in this. Probably both of those would fall because, well, could Russia protect us after that humiliating of a defeat? Well, no. Russia would be even more humiliated. And then it would probably be Chechnya. Yeah, Chechnya. I could see Chechnya getting free. Honestly. But if Chechnya got free, it might lead to Dagestan. I don't think that's proper borders of Dagestan. I see these two areas being most likely to leave if they got an opportunity. Might even vote somewhere else. And now let's see. What else do I see happening? Not much more for at least a few decades. But maybe we might see Tatarstan get independence. There'll probably be conflict over this region because look. And whatever else would happen in this conflict, I don't see happening. Maybe after this, Belarus would get overthrown. And a lot more countries would turn towards the West. China would probably rethink their ideas on Taiwan. And well, what else would happen to this world? Well, this world would be in shambles. Why? Yes, well, the West had a victory. China would not be happy over this, no. The West would be celebrating, probably. But depends on what the West does. Would they make Ukraine pay for what they gave or not? And let's see. I hope not, but they could. You never know. I doubt it. Moldova would probably get more stable again. Because, you know, and then the Baltics will probably be more calm feeling. And Poland would keep rapidly expanding because, you know, this new government nobody would trust. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. We are at 172 subscribers. We're trying to get to 150. That's 28, not 28 away, but 78 subscribers away. I think we can do it. How about you guys? So please like and subscribe. That's all for today's video. You should really like and subscribe because that's just me wanting subscribers to get to 250 by April 1st. But that doesn't make it realistic. But I think we'll be at 200 in a week or two. Hopefully. In a week, that would be great getting to 200. Because, I mean, we have a high chance of getting to 250 by the end of March. So, please subscribe. Get your friends to subscribe. And whatever. I hope you enjoyed this video. This took a lot of thinking about what would happen. And what could happen. And what would definitely happen. So yeah, this video wasn't like just click record. I was like, what would happen? And yeah, what would happen is my question. What would? And I think Ukraine will take back Crimea, be it 2024, 2025, 2023. They will one day take it back. Ukraine is willing to stand the hardships of this war so far, so I don't think they would give up at this point without victory. Maybe then they would sign peace, but I don't think they would ever give up land. Then again, they might agree to China's peace treaty, which Russia leaves Ukraine, and nobody uses sanctions. You know, it's a great treaty. Not really. But yeah, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And this world would be a bipolar world between, well, China and America. No, a tripolar with India too. Yeah, let's just say it'll be a multipolar world. Not American being the ruler of the world and the waves. It'll make a complex situation in the coming decades. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. What should you comment? Because that's engaging. So please comment anything. Show your support by liking. And that's all for today's video. Wild Mapper is out. After you subscribe and like, then I'll leave the video. Yep. After you subscribe and like. That's all for today's video. Wild